Okay, so you clicked on this video because you're struggling with exams and you don't know how to revise or, the effective study techniques that top students use to pass their exams. What if I told you I found a way to pass all my exams in my first year of medical school? So university, schools, A levels, they're all tough, right? Because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of content we need to cover. It's really, really difficult at times. Like for people who want to study medicine, for example, right? They need to study biology, chemistry, and maths, and they're all really, really dense subjects, right? And they're not easy to pass. So I'm just gonna go through in this video, like I'll cover some of the things that I did, and I'll just share like my journey with you because trust me, it wasn't all passes. Like I failed a lot. So I'm a medical student. I'm a second year medical student. Well, I'm going into my second year of medical school. I managed to pass all my exams in first year successfully. After you finish watching this video, I'll teach you all the techniques that I did to help me pass. So let's rewind to 2018 for a second. When I was in sixth form and I finished my A levels and it was results day, and this was 2018. I went into school, I got my envelope, I opened it, and I had a D in A level biology. And obviously, like, that wasn't good enough because I couldn't study medicine or even do any worthwhile degree with that. So the reason was because I never used the proper study techniques. I always wasted time, I procrastinated. Like, I'd always be on my, like, fucking phone. I'd literally be on TikTok. Well, TikTok wasn't, like, it wasn't popping off back then, but Instagram, like, I'd literally just be scrolling every night till, like, probably 2 a.m. I didn't have the habits of top achievers, top students. I'm just going to go over a bit of that. So essentially, the problem was I didn't know how to study. And sometimes we don't even know like how to study. And that was the problem for me. I didn't know how to study. I thought like, okay, sick, I'm just going to go on YouTube. I'm going to watch like the productivity hacks and all of that sort of stuff. But that doesn't mean anything because I'm not actually doing the work. I'm just watching other people achieve their results and it didn't really amount to anything. But then when I took my gap year to resit my exams, I changed my approach. I was like psychoanalyzing where did I go wrong, right? Because I failed terribly. Like I was predicted for an A and I got a fucking D. I changed my whole techniques. Like I started using active recall and spaced repetition, the Feynman technique. I understood the concept of learning much better now. And to be honest, I know like this is probably not like the best thing to say, but I don't think it's our problem. I don't think it was my problem that I didn't do well because in school we're never actually told how to learn. We don't have like a class at the start of the year or throughout our school journey or whatever teaching us, okay, this is how you need to study. You need to make sure you understand concept. You need to make flashcards on them. You need to review them regularly. You need to focus on actually building a foundation of what you need to learn rather than rote memorization where you just like force yourself to remember the facts. It's just like a mayhem in there. So one of the things I started doing was time blocking, and I did this using Google Calendar. It's really easy. Like I'll put a picture here of like my Google Calendar now. And essentially what it is, before you begin the day, you block out times during the day for when you want to get work done. So for example, let's say you wake up at 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. would be, 8 to 9 would be like your morning routine. Maybe you want to go to the gym. So like 9 to 11 would be gym. You come home, you shower, you allow yourself like a little bit of buffer time, right? Because you can't instantly do one thing and then just do the next thing. So you give yourself that buffer time and then you add in other parts to your day, whatever you want to do. So for me, it would be like I could add like a section of deep work. So something I need to get done, like I need to make notes on like anatomy, for example. And essentially it just takes out the stress of having to think what to do for the rest of the day because everything is just laid out for you. You just need to follow it now, right? And you have to make it flexible. You can't just like have everything rigid in structure. And if, for example, like your mum comes into the room and is like, yeah, we need to go Lidl or whatever, and that just throws everything off course, like obviously you just need to make it flexible. So if one thing pops up here, you can just take that and allocate it somewhere else. And obviously like I really like to use color coding because it looks nice and fucking fancy and shit. Anyway, that's like what I do for time management. I think it's like one of the best things you can do as a student. So another thing was, and you probably heard about this, it's your specific study techniques. So things like active recall and spaced repetition. And in first year, well, initially when I started making flashcards and everything, I would use Anki or Quizlet. But now I found like a really good app, which I really like. The interface is really nice because with Anki it's like quite old fashioned, and that doesn't really appeal to me. So I use something called StudySmarter. It's available on the App Store, and they have like a website for it as well. What I really like about it is the fact that I make notes on my iPad, so I'll have like the lecture slide on my iPad, and I'll annotate the lecture slides, and then what I can do is I can export that and send it into StudySmarter. So on the web page, on one side you have your notes that are annotated, on the other side you have like the flashcard making section of it, so where you can put the question or the prompt and the answer, and you can just like look and fill it in as you go along, and you can like screenshot it from there directly, and so that's like one of my favorite apps to use for studying. And plus it incorporates spaced repetition into it automatically, so you don't need to worry about that. Another thing I decided to experiment with is meditation. So I use this app called Medito, and the thing about meditation is, like, if you go on the App Store or something, like there's always those apps like Headspace and Calm, and like you'll download them and it'll be like great, and then you'll be like, okay, now pay like £50 a year or something. But Medito is like completely free. They have meditations from like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 20 minutes. They've got sleep meditations. It's literally the best app, and I've been experimenting with it. So like when I wake up in my morning routine, like I sound like a bit of a dick saying that, I don't know, it just feels a bit weird, but in my morning routine I like to do like a 3 to 5 minute meditation, and then I do one before I sleep. And honestly, like, it's like going to the gym. You don't see the benefits of it straight away. It's like a gradual increase in benefits. And one of the things it did for me was it let me observe my thoughts. So like your thoughts are just like coming and going, right? You don't control what comes and which way they move. They just kind of shoot out of anywhere, right? And then what meditation did for me was it just let me understand the fact that whatever I'm thinking right now, it's just a thought. Like, it means nothing. And in the same way, when it comes to exams, like if you have a stress or a worry, like it's just a thought. Like it doesn't mean anything. And for those of you who probably do meditate or you don't meditate, but for those that do, you'd probably know what I'm talking about. Like the fucking mental clarity you get. It's amazing. If you are interested in learning more, like I go into specifics. I made this free ebook. I'll link it in the description somewhere. It's like the top 3 productivity hacks you need to know. Like if you're a student and you want to achieve like a certain grade or something. But yeah, so I just used all of these things, like the spaced repetition, the active recall, meditation, time management, and those are like the foundations. They're like the pillars of what helped me, and that's how I passed all my exams. And like specifically like with active recall and spaced repetition, I used to use Anki. And like I mentioned earlier, like when I failed my A levels and I got a D in biology, the next year I used all of those techniques and it went up to an A. So it definitely is possible. It's not an overnight like fix. Like, you really need to understand what it is that's going on. And like I said, like I made like a free ebook. If you want to check it out, go for it. Like, I'll link it in the description somewhere. If you have something specific that that helps you, just like put it in the comments, because the thing is, one size doesn't fit all. So what I might say might not directly help you, but whereas you might have something else and that might help like another viewer or something who's going through the comments. So if you do have like something you think is worthwhile, like that would actually help someone, just like put it in the comments, just for them to see. But if you did find it helpful, do like it and share it and subscribe and comment, because it helps out a ton with the YouTube algorithm, and it just lets more people see the video who actually really need to see it. But yeah, see you next time.